How's it going, guys? I'm doing this video. If you don't know who I am, my name is Adrian. I basically run Tag Animation Studios, Tag Animations, all that stuff. I love making comics. I'm basically just here to go over probably one of the most like deeply felt, deeply rooted comics that me and my artist have worked on for probably like the last 6 or 7 months. And I just want to kind of go over the thought process of it and kind of want to say kind of a little bit what's next, but not like put anyone's like hopes and expectations up, right? So here is our comic, and essentially, yeah. So essentially, you have Powder, and she's basically brooding and I think it was like Jace's tower or wherever they experiment. Like when Echo had to go back to his own universe and everything like that. Like I was so depressed at that moment. I was like, why are you gonna tease this and not use this? So for anyone who wants to kind of get an understanding of why I made this comic, I made it because Arcane season 1 was perfect. I don't think there was anything wrong with Arcane season 1 really. I think Arcane season 2 was a bit weird in the fact that it introduced Arcane, which to me there was no need to do any of that stuff. It changed Victor heavily into something that he just was not supposed to be. There's no Blitzcrank anymore. There's no Twitch anymore. There's none of these things, these cool things that were in the original lore. He was more of a mechanical mage. Now he's like a mage, and now him and Jace are like dead, and Heimerdinger's dead, and everyone's like, is Jinx dead? So it's one of those things where like season 2 really, and then they introduce like the Jinx and Echo dynamic, and then Echo ends up saving the world, and then basically doesn't have anything left. Like what? What? So I just came away from season 2 like it was great. It was animated great. Everything kind of made sense. It was nice, but it just could have been more. Could have been better. And so I said, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm gonna go ahead and write my own fanfic of the story that I wanted to kind of tell, and I thought that was gonna go through, and it would still lead to kind of the same outcome that they're trying to do now. Now, comics take a lot of work. They take a lot of time. You have to do all the story stuff first, and then from the story stuff, you have to actually like make sure that everything's correct, and then you have to do the character designs, and then you actually go and make the actual comic itself. So it's a lot. It's not an easy thing to do, but these 4 pages, I call it a teaser because it's just I wanted to get something out there before the actual comic. So I actually have I think I have 5 pages of actually everything written down. I have an overview, and then I structure my overview and I turn my overview into like the actual pages itself. We call it paneling. So essentially, you basically like write the script as if you were basically drawing it and stuff like that. So I give that to my artist, and he's like, "Oh, okay, this is how panel 1 is supposed to look. This is how panel 2 is supposed to look, and so on each page." And so I already actually have the first 5 chapters or so paneled out and everything like that. But this was actually impromptu because I was like, okay, 18 pages is going to be crazy. I can't afford that just now. I'm gonna try to do a little teaser and just try to get the community together to see what I do, see the comics that we make and stuff like that, and hopefully I can gain, a decent following to basically follow my projects and stuff like that, and hopefully as some of my bigger, more time-focused projects like Pause, which is our original comic that I made with one of my artists. Um, when that project hopefully gets bigger and into the scene of a lot more people, so that way there's more eyes on it. The goal is that that can eventually be monetized into something physical, and then that physical monetization can go back into these projects so that way I can actually work on things that probably won't be monetized ever. Like this, I can't monetize it because Riot, and I tell people this in the community, Riot will take down anything that is monetized or put behind a paywall. So the best thing you can do is basically have other things that you're doing, right? Other things that you're doing that can be donated on, paid for, stuff like that, so that way it's not, so that way you can put that as free, right? Does that make sense? So you're basically putting the comic out as free, but you're getting money from everything else, and you put that money into making the fan comic, which is gonna stay free. The other thing is they'll take it down if it's really outside of what or ruining what Riot is trying to do. That's the other reason why I kind of want to take it slow here because Riot's still trying to develop their story and the MMO and stuff. And I think that with anything that causes a large disruption to their story and stuff like that, they might have the possibility of taking it down. And that would be a shame if I spent a couple months basically making a manga or a comic that couldn't actually be go mainstream or anything like that. So that's why I'm just taking a step back a little bit from this. But I do have plans to try to continue. It just depends on how things go following other stuff, everything that I just described. So with that being said, so essentially, yeah, you have Jinx here. She's brooding. She's pissed. This is alternate universe Jinx. So this is basically like Echo leaves. She's here for I believe I have it in here for like 5 days or 6 days or something after Echo leaves, and she just keeps coming here, right? She wants to know like she's kind of like lost in her thought. This is basically after Echo left, and she's just kind of like sat here like, man, this was a different Echo, and he was like my vibe. He like knew my sister. Like he was different. He wasn't this Echo. And I think to me it like it changes your perception of things if you know that there's like different alternatives out here. So with this page, I really wanted to showcase like how her mind was all messed up, how his mind was all messed up because he can't remember anything because Echo shared like that alternate reality with him. So literally when he woke up, he just didn't have any memories of whatever happened the last day or so when they were like working together with Heim and everything like that, right? So that's page one. That's the idea behind page one. Page two was interesting. I don't really remember it in Arcane. So me and my artist were like going back to like certain scenes. So we kind of skimmed low key here. Um, because again, all this stuff, these 4 pages are more impromptu. They weren't as heavily researched as what I did in the first chapter, which is kind of like a slow progression. This is very like, okay, we're gonna go 4 pages, so one shot here, one thing here, one there. So hopefully that makes sense. So this is basically like the aftermath after like when Echo basically is just there after the fight and he kind of just like wakes up and you also in Arcane, you don't really see anything because this is like in that time skip, right? So between like Jinx offing herself and basically like Echo winning, like there's nothing in between there. It just time skips forward. So I wanted to basically hear. Actually, let's go to the revision. I have a revision under here with the eye patch. That's probably better. We did this like really quick because somebody mentioned it. But yeah, I wanted here to be like, okay, so after the aftermath, have like that relationship between Vi and Echo because I think that just makes sense. Like you have Vi and Caitlyn and they have this dynamic, right, where they're basically like lovers and they're pretty much a married couple at this point. Um, but then you have Echo, and he's just all alone, right? And this is before you see him just out on the nightscape and stuff, just kind of like he's sulking and just like, what the fuck, But he's got like his back turned to the city. You guys know what scene I'm talking about. And this is before that, so it's like. like where did that come from? So now he's just sad and he has no words or whatever. So you don't really get to see his grief. And so this is prior to that, to where, he just wakes up, you have Vi and Kate basically running out to him, and he's like, where the hell is Jinx? That's his first thing. He wakes up and he's like, where the hell is Jinx? And yeah, Vi explains that she basically, offed herself with Vander. And you get to see like this, right? And you're like, oh crap, this is happening right now. And then when you go to the next page, you understand that it's actually a dream. I don't know if that's clear. Again, it's hard to do a big story in 4 pages, but essentially, he's been dreaming this every single night, basically of that moment of Vi and them coming to him and basically telling him that, you know, she's dead. So he has this dream over and over again, and he's sobbing. He's, probably not like breathing as good as he can, and you know, I feel like Vi again has been more of that support for him because if you really think about it, there's no one left. Haim is gone, Jace is gone, Victor's gone. Like all these people that could have helped Echo are gone, right? He doesn't have anyone left, and even Vi and Kate, they're like together. So like even them, they're doing their own thing. So you can only imagine that, yeah, like maybe every morning or something, they go and check on Echo. And basically, she's just there for him. And sometimes you just need a person there for you when you're basically like, dealing with shit. And so you can imagine that this is basically what this encapsulates. And then the last page is just something I figure Heimerdinger would do. You know, we don't know where Heim went, right? But I have a feeling that Heim doesn't care if he dies. Like in that scene when he basically plugged in and basically he knew what was gonna happen. He was like, you know what? That's fine. I'm just gonna go to Vandal City. Time doesn't really exist there. Boom. And basically, yeah, he does that, and then basically goes in, forgets how long it's been because it's probably been a while since he's actually like been back to Vandal City. And then he remembers that, hey, maybe I should go check on Echo. And then he sees this banjo that's just kind of like staying in there, and he's like, hmm, nah, I want to play my banjo first. Then he just plays his banjo. This one was just comedic because it's just like this is to me what Heimerdinger would do. You just like have fun, and again, it's not so serious. I feel like Heimerdinger wouldn't take it as seriously because he's in a place kind of outside of time. At least from my understanding, that's kind of how Bandle City seems like. Like it's just this pocket universe that's kind of like outside of time, and like when they die and stuff, they go there. Like Yordles and stuff go there, and then they can kind of just do their thing and then come back at like nothing ever happened. Um, so yeah, that's just kind of like what I thought I should basically have as like a precursor to kind of the story I want to build. What I want to do to give you guys like a hint of where I'm going. Let's just say, trying to do this without spoiling anything. Let's just say there's a reason why Echo has the abilities in the game that he has. There's a reason why he's the boy who shattered time. There's a reason why the series that I want to have as this like fan made series is called Fractured. There's a reason for all of it. But what I will say is that Echo doesn't get better, right? His support structure is literally only Caitlyn. How fractured do you have to get before you just break, right? Is it after the girl you love dies? Is it after you have no one left? Is it after you beat everything in the world or you save everyone, but you basically have nothing left in this world uh to do is and what kind of outcome comes from being a mad genius, somebody who's so smart and thinks that maybe there's a chance to rewind it all. Maybe. I'll keep it at that. I love doing this. Hopefully you guys can keep supporting the comic and stuff like that. Share it, follow, and yeah, take it easy, guys. Thanks.